I'm Lisa Steele from Fresh Eggs Daily, and we thought that it would be fun to talk about scratch grains today because it's winter, it's cold, our chickens need a little bit of extra TLC in the cold weather, and scratch grains are a great way to do it. So today I'm going to show you a really fun family idea. The kids would love to get involved with this as well, kind of a way to treat your chickens this holiday season. So to talk a little bit about scratch grains, first of all, scratch grains really are just seeds, grains, a mixture that's meant as a wintertime warming treat. So it's not nutritionally balanced necessarily. It's just a mixture of whole grains and seeds that the chickens eat before bedtime. They hold them in their crop, they digest them overnight, and that active digestion creates heat, which keeps the chickens warm at night. So scratch grains are a great cold weather wintertime treat just before bed. I usually, here in Maine, it gets dark around 3:30 in the winter, so around 2 o'clock, I toss out scratch grains to my chickens. The typical scratch grain mixture usually has 3 or 4 different ingredients in it: cracked corn, barley, oats, wheat. Those are kind of typical scratch grain ingredients. The nice thing about scratch grains is because it is a treat, it's not necessarily supposed to be nutritionally balanced. So people who want to make their own chicken feed, for example, that has to be really like a scientific recipe because your chickens need a lot of nutrients and specific ingredients in order to lay eggs. But scratch is a treat, so it should be fed in moderation. I plan on maybe a tablespoon per chicken, just kind of rough eyeball it. It's the end of the day, so they're probably full anyway, but you do want to give them a little something to help them stay warm overnight. So instead of just giving the regular scratch grains, Blue Seal does sell a great scratch grain mix that I just keep on hand all winter, but sometimes I like to make my chickens a little something special. So today I'm going to show you my recipe for ultimate scratch grains. So in my jar, this also would make a really great holiday gift for a neighbor or friend who has chickens, maybe somebody who shares their eggs with you, or just got chickens, if you put it in a nice clear mason jar. So I'm going to start with a little bit of wheat. Wheat is oftentimes in the scratch grain mixes anyway. The chickens like it. Ducks also like it. Ducks like scratch grains as well. Then for a little color, I'm going to add some dried peas. Peas are really good, especially for ducks. They have niacin in them, which ducks need more of it than chickens. So I do give my chickens and ducks brewer's yeast. The brewer's yeast provides niacin as well, but peas are a really good source of niacin, and ducks really love peas. Plus, it's festive. So those are the dried peas. I've got some almonds. Nuts are a really great source of protein for your chickens in the winter, and some good healthy fats. As long as the nuts are unsalted, any kind of nut is great to give to your chicken. So I've got some sliced almonds in there. I've got some sunflower seeds. The black oil is common and inexpensive. You can give them the striped, you can give them the seeds without the shells on, but the black oil is probably the most common. Makes a nice little layer there. I've got some oats, some rolled oats. I do add oats to my chickens' feed. For ducks especially, it cuts the protein a little bit when they're growing because ducks grow really fast. So I do add it especially to my ducklings' feed because it helps slow their growth a little bit, helps not put such a strain on their growing little legs. But chickens love rolled oats. So there's some rolled oats. They can have them raw, cooked, whatever. Then I'll put in some dried cranberries. You could also put in raisins or golden raisins. Unlike dogs and cats, raisins are fine for chickens. Then I've got some walnuts. Again, great source of fat as long as they're unsalted. Nuts, pistachios, cashews, those are kind of expensive, but peanuts, great thing to add. Here I have got some flaxseed. Flaxseed is its whole flaxseed is a really good nutrient to give to your chickens because the omega-3s in the flax, or the omega-6, the omegas in the flax seed, the chickens can pass that right through to their eggs. So the eggs become more nutritious with the flax that your chickens eat. That's true in general. Chickens can pass the nutrients, or they do pass the nutrients in what they eat through to their eggs. So the more nutritious diet your chickens have, the more nutritious your eggs are going to be. Let me see, I think I'll add a few more peas for another little green layer. And maybe another light layer. Add a little more wheat on the top. So obviously if you're making this for your own chickens, you can just mix it in a mixing bowl, you know, or their dish or whatever. You don't need to make it in layers. But this makes this pretty. You can put a little ribbon around it, put maybe some fabric on top, and give this as a Christmas gift to a chicken keeper. But my ultimate scratch grain recipe, I usually do start with the basic scratch that has the cracked corn and the wheat and the oats, and then I'll mix in all these other add-ins and just stir it all together. The chickens absolutely love it. It's super colorful, and you're making regular scratch a little bit more nutritious. So instead of just empty calories and energy, you're actually adding some nutrition to the basic grains, which is always a plus. And I know my chickens, when it's really cold, they don't like to come out and eat, you know, so anything I can do to entice them out to actually, you know, just to get something in their bellies for the winter is really beneficial. So again, any nuts, peanuts, walnuts, almonds, cashews, as long as they're unsalted, sunflower seeds, any type of sunflower seeds, flax seeds, sesame seed, grains, barley, oats, millet. A lot of times I'll add millet, and then your dried peas. The one thing you don't want to add to any kind of mix for your chickens is dried beans. Fresh beans are great. Beans from the garden are great. Cooked beans are fine, but dried beans do have a toxin in them. So you don't want to be feeding dried beans to your chickens. Those beans need to either be cooked or sprouted. Both of those acts inactivate the toxin, and they're fine for the chickens. So you do want to sprout or cook your beans, but peas are not a bean. They're a different family, so they're fine. And I love this green color in the mix along with the cranberries. So I hope you enjoyed today's ultimate scratch grain recipe.